Hey guys, I've been gone for a little while. The reason is I went to the dentist. They did half of my wisdom teeth. I still have to get the other half done. I'm recovering still from getting these ones done. To be honest, it makes it hard to talk, at least for prolonged periods of time. It's something you're not really supposed to do, especially for the first few days. So for that period of time, I have been building this mod tool. So this started out as a fun little project, but it's quickly turning into what I think might be a revolutionary tool for people who mod Farming Simulator. Now, I want you to keep in mind what you're seeing here today is, let's call it 3 days worth of work. It is pretty simple overall, and there is a ton that I'm going to be adding into this that we are not even scratching the surface of here today. But I want to make this video to explain where I've been and showcase this program that I'm building to modders to get your feedback and what you like, don't like, what you want to see, what you think is useful, these sorts of things. My goal is to make this if I can, make it a one-stop shop. I come here to make mods. Now I understand there's limitations between, you're going to need to be able to use the Giants editor though, and some of this other stuff. But if I can make it integrate really well with those, which I'm sure I can, this is going to be a very powerful tool. All that set aside, let me get to explaining what we have. So while I was at the dentist, I knew that I would end up having a lot of time on my hands to do a project that I've been wanting to do for a long time. So here you have 1,400 lines of code. Now, I want to note, the version I'm showing you here, I have since split up into multiple files, and it's all much more organized and well-structured. This is a one master file. That's how I initially built it, was one line. Okay? I'm learning as I go, but this is coming together really, really well. So let me show you what that 1,400 lines of code, which got cleaned up quite a bit in the newest version. I'm not going to show you that yet, though. Let me show you everything that this has. So this is the Farming Simulator Mod Assistant. We can make it full screen. For the rest of this, we will. Now, this tool is to help modders make mods. Particularly at this point in time, it's very focused on scripting, either XML or Lua or whatever you need. But eventually, I will be adding other features that make it much more useful. There is a lot of opportunity with this, and we're only scratching the surface. So to break it down, let me explain what we're looking at. In the very middle, where I'm typing right here, this is a basic text editor, if you will, and you can just go in here and write whatever code you are working on. This is the writer. If you click reader right here, now you're in the reader tab. It's the same section, but there's, tabs. So that way, things that populate, right? If I wanted to populate, let's say not to look too far ahead, but let's say I populated the game log, it'd show up in the reader and not delete what you were writing for your code, right? So that's very cool. This is your main where you work. Now you can adjust the size of this so I can make this the whole space, and I can really be focused in on my code or on the log from the game or whatever we put into the reader. Now if I pull this back down to about halfway, I'll continue explaining. At the bottom, we have another text box here. This is to send queries to a GTP model that is fine-tuned on modding Farming Simulator. Okay? So I have fine-tuned a GTP model on what it takes to mod Farming Simulator, and then I've integrated that into this software. So you have direct access to a modding expert at all times. Whether you're a beginner or an expert, this can really aid you in your process. And let me show you a couple ways how. First of all, let me simply show how it works. I'll say, "Hi, I am new and do not know what you do. Could you please tell me?" Let's see what it says by clicking send. It'll send the query, and now we have a response at the very top. Remember how I dragged this down? So you could really focus on what the GTP says as a response, go back to focusing on your work, or do a 50-50, right? So it said, this is what I said, and then it said assistant right here. Of course, I'm here to help you with Farming Simulator 22 modding. Whether you need assistance with creating creating, installing, or troubleshooting mods, or understanding how mods enhance the game, feel free to ask. So, long story short, anything you need to do about modding Farm Sim 22. As I perfect this, so steps are build the software, get the software where it needs to be, fine-tune the GTP even further to ensure it is as good as possible, right, to limit issues, and then expand the GPT to allow also Farm Sim 19 and the new upcoming Farm Sim 25. We will not go further back than 19, but I will go back to 19 after getting 25 implemented. All right? All that being said, we have a lot more to go over here before we get into all the future stuff. So let's continue. What we're going to go through now is the buttons right down here at the very bottom. You have select and display XML. This is just a quick button I put in here. It may or may not stay. Like a lot of things may or may not change. They will probably change. But what this will do is input whatever code I want to see in the reader, right? Let's say I wanted to just be able to have this in the reader and then have my writer and have them still working. One of the things as I'm showing this to you now, what I promise is eventually I'll make it so you can customize the layout, and I'd like to make it to where we could, like, say, take the reader and put it on this half and have the writer on this half, so you could have half and half. So we will build in some customization and stuff. Again, this is like 3-ish days of work. So moving on, we got search and replace. So of course, both the same for the writer and the reader. It's just whether it's in the writer or the reader. We'll do the reader for this one. It will now search the reader for whatever term. Let's say we wanted to search for this term right here, okay? And let's say we wanted to replace that with whatever term we were trying to replace it with. Now, first thing that you're going to run into is this isn't going to do it in the reader. All right, so I'm actually going to probably remove this button, like I said, early build. But what this will do is let you edit easily in the writer, okay? If I did this to the reader, it would try it, but it wouldn't actually make the change because I don't allow you to edit the reader. It's just for reading. You have analyze writer and analyze reader. These are pretty simple. What they do is send the contents of the reader or the writer to the GTP, and then it tells you whatever you want to know out of that. It's just a way to provide what you're working on to the AI directly. So let's say, let me expand on that for you. Let's say I'm working on this mod description right here, okay? I'll just go ahead and show you. I have a mod XML and I need to know what it is about. Please tell me. I'm going to send this to it and ask it if it can help. It says, yep, go ahead and send it to me. And I don't know, oh, okay. Well, I'm in the writer, analyze writer. So I said, okay, go ahead and send whatever's in that writer off to the GTP. And it replies with, we pasted it right here. This is everything that I sent to it, right? And then you can see it replies with overview. It's a mod that allows players to stay attached to moving vehicles, trailers, implements, blah, 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 blah. And then it gives you like key features, innovative user or uses, current limitations, feedback, support, acknowledgement, icon, scripts, compatibility. Yeah, it breaks it all down. If I wanted to learn something more, I could ask it more, whatever I had to say, but I'm not going to. You guys get the idea. Before we go any further, I want to show you the section up here, the top bar, the menu bar. So here in help, we have a user guide. So this is a basic help section that kind of explains stuff. This is being built as we go. Okay. Then we have settings, preferences, and in here we can change some stuff. So personally, I like dark mode. So I'm going to do that and turn off auto backup. So I'm going to click save. So now we're working on dark mode. That's much better for me personally. One of the cool things about the reader, if I go ahead and put the game log back in here, if we scroll through, you're going to find out it highlights any of the warnings right out, easy for you to see, points them out plain as day. Okay? Very, very cool. Now, let's keep on going. Here in tools, we've got a lot of stuff. We can open the game directory and it does, well, as you imagine. We can open mods directory, does as you would imagine, right? We can detect mod conflicts. I had 3 mods in there if you were paying attention, and there are no conflicts between those mods, so we're good. We can also compress a mod, so I can go in here and decide to pick that and make a mod out of it. I could go into decompress, and I could decide to pick that and decompress the mod. I could select and display XML. It's the same thing as this button here. Remember, it just puts it into the reader. So again, That's why I said that this may or may not remain. Everything is subject to change. When I'm adding features, I put them down here and then I integrate them where I want them to go. Basically is what I do. Except Analyze Writer and Analyze Reader, those are gonna stay down there. But yeah, moving on. We've got, of course, view game log, but you can also search the game log. This is a little different than the search and replace, okay? Which you will notice if I type warning and search it. And I click next, it pops me down, and finds all of them. I can search for any term in there. I could search for sounds. Search, and I can go through and show all of them that have sounds. Whatever I wanted to find, I can find. You can also export the log with the highlighting information. Don't do it to the text file. I'll change that. It's set to default text. You want to do something else. It will export it, but not the way you think. It'll say it instead of color it, okay? But anyways, you can export the log. You can validate XML. So this is very cool. We have XML in the writer, and if I'm like, is this XML okay? Is it structured right? Or are there any glaring issues? I can validate it, and it says, no, you're good. All good. You wrote it well. I can also check the mod integrity of stuff. So let me show you this one. It's pretty cool. If you want to see if there's any missing files or file paths or, issues like that within a mod, any sort of conflicts like that, you go ahead and select the mod and click open. It's going to say no issues found in the mod. Now, let me run that one more time, and let me run it on the mod sitting right next to it. All right, let's see what is going on. Okay, we actually do have an issue. We have one issue. It's a missing translation. That's all it is. So not a really big issue, just a small issue, a missing file, or missing path at the very least. So very cool to see all of that. Of course, here in the file, you have recent files, open file, which we have used to save with backup. This will allow you to save what's in the writer, and it'll also make a timestamped backup as well. It'll only make the backup if something actually changed. If you're just saving to save, it's not going to make the backup. Of course, you have an exit button, and that's pretty much everything I have to show you here. I know it's a short, sweet little video, but if you are a modder and this is something that has piqued your interest and you're thinking, ooh, this would be very useful, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Your feedback is very, very, very valuable because I am actively building this as we speak. Like I said, this is about 2-3 days, 2.5 days of work that you see here. And so it's only really set to get better and better. So let me know your thoughts, what you want to see. And for those of you who may not be modding, know that as well, we will be integrating beginner functionality eventually. But before I do that, I have to make sure that the advanced side of things are all good to go. So let me know what you think. Appreciate you. And I will be getting back to normal content as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.